The UFC is leaving the Great White North, the frozen tundra that is Canada, and they're heading all the way down to the deserts of Las Vegas, Nevada. My name is Angelo. This is We Want Picks, and I'm going to break down the entire UFC Vegas 106 fight card, giving you my picks, predictions, and DraftKings Fantasy Plays. But before we dive into this card, let me show you what the hell everybody else is doing out there. I will sit here and I will tell you, go to WeWantPicks.com. It's $10. And for that $10, you'll get picks and you'll get bets. And we have tools like a DraftKings Fantasy Optimizer. We have tools like a DraftKings Simulator. But it doesn't really put it in perspective what an unbelievable value that is unless I show you what everybody else is charging. If we go over to Roto Grinders is a massive company. With massive company comes massive expense. If you want to sign up just for UFC, that will cost you $50. $50 a month. That is 10, not quite, 5 times what we charge for 1 month. And the only thing you're going to get is a lineup optimizer with ownership projections. We got that. The cash tournament strategy. We got that. And a Discord. Well, we got that. And our Discord's free. And this is just for MMA. And you might say, hey, do they have a simulator? I didn't hear them say simulator. No, they don't. You would have to go to another website, SaberSim, to get a simulator. Let's take a quick peek at what the hell these people are charging. $97 a month. The pause is for dramatic effect. $97 a month for the starter pack on the simulator. You really want to unlock all the features, that'll be $300 a month. I mean, these prices are outrageous. Here's our simulator. This is included in everything that we do. Not addition to, not an add-on, not a bolt-on, not a tier. Included in everything that we do at WeWantPicks.com. Here's our simulator. I'm just going to click 2 buttons and let it do what it does. I clicked Run Simulator. This is pulling in historical striking stats, historical grappling stats, doing all sorts of data, whatever the hell, and it spits it all out for you. And not only did it spit out DraftKings fantasy information, we also have underdog fantasy information, prize picks fantasy information, striking information, takedown information, and you have all of these data points that you can use to not only build DraftKings fantasy lineups, but play prop bets on other things. We also have that DraftKings Fantasy Optimizer, both with the regular mode that anybody who's ever used one should be familiar with, but also with a beginner mode. Because we understand that the many thousands of people that have become premium members don't all do everything and they don't all know how to use everything. Many of you want to explore DraftKings Fantasy. You're watching this video for the full card breakdown aspect, not the DraftKings portion of it, and that's totally fine. But if you do want to dip your toes in the water, use a tool to help you build DraftKings Fantasy lineups. This normal optimizer can be a little intimidating. What the hell are projections? What are these values? What's the minimum exposure, maximum exposure? What should those be? Instead of expecting you to know that information, we coded a brand new optimizer from scratch that will just ask you a series of normal human English language questions. It'll say things like, who's your most confident pick on this card? What underdogs do you like on this card? Is there anybody that you don't want in any of your lineups at all? You answer some questions, it'll spit it out for you. There's a theme here, guys. We have quite literally the best offering in this space at quite literally the best possible price. There are people out there trying to be famous with studio lights all around them, begging you for $20 per card. Here's 5 bets, guys, but I'm going to say it loud, so that must mean it's worth that much more than We Want Picks Premium, when We Want Picks Premium has picks, bets, tools, and artificial intelligence, everything for every fantasy you could ever want or need. Go to the website, support your boys, WeWantPicks.com, and if there's any feature you would like added, any tool that we don't have, let us know. That's why this continues to grow. We release these tools. We're adding iterations. I mean, I just breezed over the fact that this event simulator has Underdog Fantasy and FanDuel, and the fact that it has prize picks. I literally just breezed over that. That is a major addition. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. Let's go ahead and dive in. How long was that intro? 4 minutes? If any of you bitch about a 4-minute intro on a free 45-minute video, when this is how we pay our fucking bills, woo! Wish I could slap you in person. Let's go ahead and break down this card. UFC Vegas 106 is decent. It's not amazing. It's also not dog shit. We've gotten some dog shit this year. It's not dog shit. It's not amazing, but it's not the worst Apex card we've seen. And we are going to open up the card with a couple of ladies. I'll tell you right now, this will go the full 15 minutes. Just put your life savings on the over, and you'll be up a ton of money. I mean, that should be the betting strategy, right? Instead of like trying to be the smartest guy in the room with like, here's my crazy slick prop bet, or here, I just placed 14 different plus money bets so that I can pretend I'm a genius when one of them hits, but I'm going to hide the tickets. No, go to the bank, take out a loan and say, what's my life worth? I want all of that. And then put it on the over 2.5. It's juiced. It's minus 455, but put it on the over 2.5 of this fight, and you'll come back with more money than you started with. That's almost a guarantee. And if that's not the case, oh, my bad, dude. Yikes. There may be homeless shelters in your neighborhood. We got Tecia Pennington taking on Luana Pinheiro. Tecia Pennington, formerly Tecia Torres. She's going to come forward. She's going to get in your face. Her nickname is the Tiny Tornado, and that's a pretty solid nickname because she moves forward just making stuff happen. She's going to throw strikes. She's going to hold the against cage. She's going to try to work takedowns. She's going to move forward at all costs with incredible cardio for a full 15 minutes. She's not particularly dangerous. Decision. She beat Sam Hughes in 2020. Decision. She's not particularly dangerous. But what she is busy, durable, and active, and that's what you can expect out of her, just a lot of forward pressure. Problem is, forward pressure doesn't necessarily score. 65 points in a decision win. 35 in a loss, 36 in a loss. Let's say it's a win. Give him another 30. Not a lot of points. She did score 97 against Angelo Hill, but that's because she really got her strikes going. I mean, she went off with 144 significant strikes, but that's an anomaly because nowhere else did she land that many strikes. She's $9,300. She will never be worth that salary. If we take a look at her opponent, Luana Pinheiro is a little more kill or be killed. While she does have plenty of decisions, she also has been finished before, and she can be dangerous. She can be a powerful striker. She's got good enough takedowns. Her BJJ is decent. She averages about 2 takedowns per fight. She is a high-volume fighter. She has knockdowns in almost a third of her fights. The reality is, though, she's fighting a very good, very durable Tecia Pennington. And unless Luana gets the takedowns, she's just going to be held against the cage or a little too slow and getting dotted up on the feet. Luana's not going to win this fight. $6,900 is seemingly a great price, but a loss is a loss. And even in her last win, she scored 51 points. Imagine getting her at $6,900, thinking like this is the deal of a lifetime. She wins. You just picked a huge underdog, and she scores 51 points in DraftKings Fantasy. That would be tough. She's not worth it. Neither one of these women are worth that price point. I do think Tecia wins this fight, and the over is pretty much good as gold. Then we have Hyun Park taking on Carlos Hernandez. Guy's got plenty of finishes, and he is undefeated in his career, but this is going to be a nice little test for him. He's a slick grappler. He really just wants to get fights to the ground from the opening to the end. He's just going to shoot takedowns, try to get it done. He is a finisher, though. He'll snatch things up in scrambles. He is patient on his feet, and then he will find an opening, close the distance, and work in a takedown. He's dangerous, but the more tape you watch, the more you realize he's dangerous on the ground. On the feet, he looks pretty uncomfortable. He doesn't like when punches are flying at his face. He is coming off this win over Shannon Ross. This was a year ago, more than. This was December 9th, 2023, so we're working on about 18 months almost from his last fight. He is pretty expensive, $8,500. I think, and I guess pretty expensive is a bit of an exaggeration. I think this is a dead even fight because he's taking on Carlos Hernandez. And while Hyun Park is undefeated, so there's some question marks there, Carlos Hernandez is not. So yes, he's lost a few times, but his losses are quality. Oh, Rai Tatsuro out-wrestled him. Tatsuro Taira did the same. He almost had Tatsuro Taira. I mean, he had him a little bit of trouble there. Oh, Nascimento. It's basically people that can take him down and hold him down that can have some success. He's a grappler in his own right. His striking is okay. He's got decent accuracy, deceiving power. He's not the most technically sound guy, but he's got a good enough jab and then a straight that falls right behind it. He's another one of these guys that's got good BJJ, but his wrestling sucks. So he can't force a fight to the ground if he needs to. He can't keep it on the fight if he needs to. He will chase, though. You'll see some Hail Mary submissions like flying triangles. He is coming off this win over Nyam Turman. That audio was perfect. Your ears just deceived you. I said that name absolutely correct. Another situation, though. He was a favorite in that fight. Didn't score quite well. I do think that Hyun Park is going to win this fight. And I think it's because he can get the takedowns. He can control where this fight goes and how long it stays there, where Carlos is going to be sort of at Park's mercy. So I'm going to pick Park here. And we don't have like a million fighters on this card, but it is a little scary spending $8,500 on a guy that hasn't fought in 18 months. And he is fighting a pretty durable Carlos Hernandez. The only upside really will be if Park relies on the wrestling, he's going to score really, really well here. And that is how you beat Carlos Hernandez. So I'm going to pick Park, and I may have some exposure in him with a few lineups. We have Denise Gomes taking on Elise Reed. Denise Gomes is in an interesting spot here because she's not amazing, but she's not trash. But she is priced like she's Amanda Nunes. $9,500. Denise is a striker. She can grapple as well. She could also be hittable, but she's so tough that being hittable almost doesn't matter. She's never out of a fight. She's going to move forward, bite down that mouthpiece, bomb away. It does take her a few minutes to get going. She'll work in kicks really well. She can be dangerous on the ground. She's coming off the win over Karolina Kovacevic, where she had the volume and she had the pressure. But again, we have a lady who doesn't score that well. The upside here, though, could be the finish. You see here, she knocked out Yariui. She knocked out Brunna. She's got some power. She has power in those hands. And if we go to the other side, Elise Reed also has some power, but Elise Reed can be finished. We've seen her broken. We've seen her finished on the ground, on the feet. We've seen Elise fade later in fights, and then that fading has a pretty dire results. And if trends are anything, if you're a trend kind of guy and you look at you're just staring at stocks and then whatever the fuck, right? You care about trends. Well, if this isn't one of the most stable win-loss UFC records we've ever seen, odds are going to tell you she's about to lose. And I do think she loses this fight. Elise Reed, though, is not terrible. These odds make you think that she's absolute dog shit, and she isn't. Elise Reed's got power in her hand. She's a good striker. She'll set an incredible pace early. And again, has power in her hand. She could absolutely get to a chin and give you a really, really hard outing. If fights get to the ground, she can survive, but needs to work on that get-up game a little bit. Her biggest issue, though, is she will accept positions. You can mark her down, hold her against the fence, and she will just stay there. She's coming off this win over Jessica Penne. Not the greatest win in the world because Jessica Penne's a little older, not very active, more focused on OnlyFans. But it was a decent win in that Elise Reed had no problem bombing away, and after getting held against the cage, just got her jab going. Partially because Jacob was sitting there live yelling, "Pump your jab, push it through the guard." And that's exactly what she did, and she won that fight. She went up to Jacob afterwards and said, "I heard everything, thank you so much." So Elise Reed has all the skills. Problem is, I do think Denise Gomes comes in here, walks her down, pushes her forward, and holds her against the cage. And I think Elise just kind of accepts that position. So I think Elise is going to be stuck against the cage, going to be losing the minutes, ultimately lose this fight. I do think it goes the full distance, but if you're on the Denise side and you think Elise is going to get finished here, which we have seen her finished several times before, so it's not as if she's insanely durable, then Denise at that price point might make sense if she's going to score over 100. Then we have Luana Santos, and she is taking on Tainara Lisboa. This is another one of these interesting lady fights. There's 3 lady fights on this card. I think all 3 of them go the distance. You could parlay the 3 of these fights to go the distance. I'm almost positive this one does. I am absolutely certain the Tecia Pennington one does, and the Gomes one that we just broke down. That's the only one I'm a little like, we'll see. But we have Luana Santos, a judo practitioner. We would call that a judoka. She's going to come forward. She'll throw some strikes, ultimately look in the clinch so she can toss you. We learned from her last fight against Casey O'Neill that Luana Santos has only judo. She has no wrestling whatsoever. They are very different martial arts. Wrestling, you shoot takedowns. You attack the legs. You attack the hips. There are some throws in wrestling, but if I'm just going to break it down as simple as possible, you can attack the legs. You can lower your level, get under somebody's hips. In judo, it's all about tying up and throws. It's all about throws from different positions. And what we saw in this last fight was Luana Santos trying to throw Casey O'Neill, but she couldn't because Casey O'Neill was doing a great job keeping her hips back. She was doing a great job using the fence to stay on her feet, not pressuring forward. Because in order for Luana to throw you, you got to push into her. If I have my ass all the way out and I'm not pushing into her, how the hell is she going to throw me? And that's when she wanted to transition to wrestling, and she tried to transition to wrestling, but she couldn't get any takedowns off the cage because her wrestling sucks. So Luana Santos is a favorite here. And you know what? She put together a nice little body of work before that. She beat Juliana Miller, who sucks but is tough. She beat Stephanie Egger, who is also a judoka. And then she beat Maria Agapova, who can't defend takedowns. What we have seen from Luana is the big power, because this Agapova fight, yeah, sure, there was a takedown there. We don't quite see the knockdown, but there was a big, big power shot in the mix. So Luana Santos is pretty. She's got judo. We've seen power in her hands, at least flashes of it. But this is going to be a very different fight because she's fighting Tainara Lisboa. Tainara Lisboa is a striker. She has a Muay Thai background. She likes to load up on the feet. She'll throw wild knees in the clinch. She moves well. She's an aggressive striker. She's got decent takedown defense, and if she is taken down, she does have submissions in her back pocket. She is coming off this win over Ravina Oliveira, where she landed a few more strikes, but focused on the grappling. I think Tainara wins this fight. $7,800 seems like a decent price point here. The problem is she may not score that incredibly well, but she scored 76 points in a pretty competitive back and forth fight. So if this fight's a little easier and she gets her hands going, keeps her ass off the cage, ends up on top here or there, then all of a sudden she can be worth this money. $7,800. I'll definitely have some exposure there, but certainly we're going to need her to be a little busier than she has been. I mean, 18 significant strikes in a 15-minute fight is kind of embarrassing. But I think Tainara can win this fight. I think she does win this fight because I think Luana Santos' takedowns are just that bad, and we saw that in her last fight. Then we have Connor Matheus taking on Yadier DelValle. Connor Matheus is better than this dog shit record. He's a volume striker. He's going to move forward. He'll throw everything he can. But the problem is he receives everything that comes back his way. He is chinny. You're going to see that he has got some finish wins. 5 of his 7 wins are by submission. You're going to say, oh, this guy must be great at jiu-jitsu. And while his jiu-jitsu doesn't suck, what I will say is a lot of those submission wins were set up by some hands, snatching things up in scrambles, if anything. In one case, he climbed up against his opponent's back while they were standing on the cage. So he is a good grappler. His takedowns are okay, but he's more of an opportunistic scrambler than anything when it comes to the finish wins. He's also chinny as shit, and the chinniness might matter here because we're taking on Yadier. Yadier DelValle is a good grappler. He's got solid striking, and he definitely has some power in the mix. He'll work knees in the clinch. He will not shy away from standing there, biting down the mouthpiece, and bombing away. His cardio is not amazing, but it actually doesn't affect his volume. He'll be exhausted, and you'll see this guy's exhausted, but he's still just bombing away, trying to find a finish. He has a wide enough arsenal of attacks that even when he does jump guillotine, which he will do, and it is insanely frustrating, he's got other submissions in the mix. It's not just Hail Mary guillotine jumps. He is coming off a Contender Series win, which is how he earned this UFC slot here. I think he wins this fight. He's the more dangerous of the two and the more durable of the two. $9,200 is a lot of money to spend, but at least we know for a fact his opponent has been finished several times over. So I think Yadier can defend any half-assed takedown attempts. I think he can eat whatever shots come his way and then land whatever he wants to land, potentially find a finish on the ground or on the feet. Yadier is going to be the pick. $9,200. We may need some exposure to him in our lineups. Then we have Jared Gordon taking on Thiago Moises. I'll tell you right now, this is a competitive fight. I fully understand the line swinging. Thiago Moises was the favorite. He's now the dog. Jared Gordon's officially the favorite with the DraftKings fantasy pricing. Jared's good. Jared is better than people give him credit for. And a lot of his losses are bullshit. He beat Nasrat Hakparas. That felt very much like a homer decision, right? That felt like, oh, if he's in the Middle East, they're going to give it to that dude. But he had decent volume, landed a good amount, had some control time, competitive fight. I think the optics were that he was trying to shoot some takedowns and he got none of them. I think he was 0 for 5. So maybe that's what influenced the judges. The Bobby Green fight. Okay, it's a no decision. And that's because there was a clash of heads. But leading up to that clash of heads, Jared Gordon was a pretty big underdog. You can see here, $6,800. That's a massive underdog. But he went in there. He was winning that fight and then the clash ahead. So that is what it is. Before that, Paddy Pimblett. He beat Paddy Pimblett. That was a bad decision. And you can see we don't have the pricing, but I promise you he was an underdog in that fight as well. He beat Mark Madsen. That's an Olympic wrestler. He beat Santos. The Grant Dawson loss, that's a quality loss. And before that, we have to go all the way back to Oliveira. 2018, we're starting to, now we're in a different league of losses. But obviously he's evolved. He's got some quality wins. Jared Gordon is going to come forward. He's got decent wrestling. He's got good volume striking. He's not very dangerous, but he is tough, and he just keeps moving forward. He'll get his hands going. He'll stay in your face. He'll shoot the takedowns. He's not afraid to get into a scrap. He's taking on Thiago Moises. Thiago Moises is tried and true at this point. He doesn't have the greatest wins of all time, but he's got a lot of really high-level fights. He beat Trey Ogden in that last fight. And yeah, a lot of it had to do with the mistakes that Trey was making. But just because your opponent's making your mistakes doesn't mean you're necessarily going to capitalize on them the way that you should. Before that, he lost to Ludovic Klein, kind of a beating. He beats Mitch Ramirez. That was bullshit. That was short notice. He loses to Saint Denis. Fine, right? And that was in Saint Denis' killer era. He loses to Joel Alvarez. Fine. He loses to Islam Makhachev. Fine. Like, the losses are quality. And if you see the wins, he's beating people he should win. Costa, Gallegos. He's beating Alexander Hernandez. He beat Green, Johnson. He loses to Ismagulov, right? High-level striker, good wrestler. Loses to Benil Dariush. Beats Kurt Hollabaugh. Like, these are quality wins and losses. He's beating who he's supposed to beat, and he's losing to some of these upper echelon guys. I don't think Jared Gordon's an upper echelon guy. I do think that Thiago Moises has good grappling. I think he's got good striking. He can be technical. He does a great job mixing between the two. And the reality is he has very high-level training. He was at American Top Team forever. I believe he's at Fighting Nerds. And even if he's not at either one of those full-time and he's splitting time between the two of them, two high-quality gyms with great teammates and a lot of good looks. I think Thiago Moises wins this fight $8,000. That is the issue because he doesn't score quite well because there's not a ton of finishes in the mix. But if you're doing a single-entry cash lineup and you just need wins, I think Thiago Moises makes some sense, and he is a little bit on the cheaper side. Then we have the main card opener, Matheus Camilo taking on Gabe Green. I will, W-I-L-L, I will spend the money on Matheus Camilo because the reality is I think he wins this fight, and I think his opponent's a little bit washed. We talk about Matheus Camilo. He did not come through the Ultimate Fighter. He did not come through Dana White Contender Series. He's just a good old-fashioned, brand-new UFC signing. And you don't get a lot of those. It's not short notice. It's not like anything crazy going on here. He's just doing well in the regional scene, and the UFC signed him. He's a good prospect. He's an aggressive guy. He can strike. He can grapple. He's got a ton of power, ton of cardio. He's got a good chin, a whole bag of submissions. He's going to plot forward, let his hands fly, and just embrace whatever chaos this fight brings him. He's good everywhere. He can compete in all aspects. Obviously, he's untested because this is his first UFC appearance. He's taking on Gabe Green. Gabe Green is definitely tested. He lost to Brian Batable, respectable loss. He lost to Ian Machado Gary, respectable loss. Loses to D-Rod, respectable loss. He beats Johan Lioness. He beats Phil Rowe. I mean, the Phil Rowe win is decent. The Lioness one, I don't think Lioness is even in the UFC anymore. My biggest issue with this fight is, so Gabe Green is a guy, he's pretty well-rounded. He's got decent skills everywhere. He relies on pressure, right? He relies on moving forward, getting in your face. He relies on pressure to win fights. He doesn't have big, huge one-punch knockout power, but what he does have is aggression and volume. Gabe Green's not a small guy, and these are 170-pounders. Brian Battle, Ian Gary, D-Rod. These are 170-pounders. He is moving down to 155. And you can see his last fight was in 2023. So we have a guy who is having a 2-year layoff, who is moving down a full weight class, and that's a big jump. This is not a 10-pound jump. It's a 15-pound jump. I just don't see it happening. He's fought at 55 before, but it's just who gives a shit. It was 7 years ago. 7 years. You know what I looked like 7 years ago? 7 years ago, I had abs. 7 years ago, I really did look like Ben Affleck. And not this version, not the cigarette stressed out version, the Batman version. 7 years ago, Big Ange. Woo! You would not be able to watch these videos with your wife around. Straight up. 7 years is a long time. a lot of sandwiches later, this is what you have. And Gabe Green is 7 years removed from making 155 pounds. And he's a guy that relies on forward pressure to win fights. I don't think he'll be able to have forward pressure. I think any power that he did have will be gone. It's just too big of a weight cut, too late in his career. He's too far removed from doing it previously. I don't see Gabe winning. So I'm going to pick Matheus. I'm going to put Matheus in my lineup. And a lot of this has to do with fading Gabe Green. Then we have Melk Costa taking on Julian Erosa. I'll tell you right now, I like Melk. He will be in my lineup. Melk Costa is a good dude. Melk Costa's got phenomenal scrambles. He's got very good striking. His wrestling is just okay, but if you take him down, he's got very good jiu-jitsu. Melk Costa is pretty good everywhere, and we're starting to see that. He'll work in takedowns. He doesn't need to, though, because as I mentioned, the hands are good. He's got powerful hands, good technique. He'll string together combinations well, and he will win grappling scrambles. And this is, I mean, if this isn't the perfect depiction of that, he only had one takedown, but he had 3 reversals. 3 reversals. Because it hits the ground, his scramble skills are there, and that's against Christian Rodriguez. C-Rod, who was in there with Isaac Bulgarian, somehow won that decision. In there with Shiwiwi, somehow won that decision. So Melk Costa is a guy that can fight everywhere, and he's on a nice little streak here. He beat Nursulton. He beat Andre Feely. That's a quality win. And Christian Rodriguez at this point is a quality win. Austin Lingo, not the best win in the world, and he loses to Thiago Moises. Okay. Quality lost 2 years ago and a whole bunch of wins. He is taking on Julian Erosa. Julian Erosa, if you only saw him beat a guillotine choke Christian Rodriguez and then beat a 3,000-year-old Darren Elkins, you might be like, holy shit, this guy's good. He's not. He's not, though. He's not. He lost to Padilla. Padilla's the dude that looks like an alpaca because his neck is 5 feet long. He lost to Alex Caceres. He beat Dawodu, he beat Peterson, he beat Jourdain. The Jourdain win is actually solid, but that was a late win. He was losing that fight. He was getting his ass kicked, and he pulled that submission off in the 3rd round. Julian Erosa is long, he's lean, he's tough. I'm not going to say he's durable because he's not, but he's tough. So he's not going to quit, but you can finish him, if that makes sense. He's long. He uses his length well, which is why there's so many random submission wins in here, because he's so fucking long, he'll just do long guy shit. But it's not going to matter. I think Melk Costa is too good of a grappler. I think he's too good of a scrambler. He's going to get caught in some guillotine or some long guy submission. I think Melk Costa smokes Julian Erosa. And then we have Nursulton Ruziboev taking on Dustin Stoltzfus. This is a very similar breakdown. Nursulton Ruziboev is 6'5". He is a massive dude at this weight class. He has power in his hands. We've seen it. He knocked out Diego Ferreira in his UFC debut. He knocks out SD Dumas after an eye poke, and then he knocked out Eric McConaughey in his last fight. And you might look at the last fight and be like, well, Eric McConaughey, that guy was short notice, and it took 2 rounds. That's because Nursulton doesn't rush. He doesn't force anything. He doesn't rush. He's just got big power, and he sends it straight. It's not looping power. He doesn't chase knockouts. He's very composed. He's very patient. His strikes are straight. So these big, powerful strikes right down the middle have been working for him. He is also an aggressive grappler. We haven't seen that here, right? 0 takedowns except for the Diego fight. We haven't really seen that in the UFC. The reality is, if you go watch some regional tape, Nursulton Ruziboev is a very good grappler. The one and only loss in the UFC was to Joaquin Buckley. That was at 170 pounds. Let's look at the dates. He beats SD Dumas in Long Island on March 30th. Less than 2 months later, he is fighting Joaquin Buckley at 170 pounds. So he makes 185, fights Dumas, probably weighs 200 on fight night, and then has to go from 200 to 170 on less than 2 months' notice. And we saw it in the fight. He was a little slow, a little behind. Like, that's just not his weight class. I can't believe he even made it. Congrats to him for being that much of a professional. Making that weight is insane. And that's the only loss we have from him. He's taking on Dustin Stoltzfus. Dustin Stoltzfus is an interesting guy because he is very dangerous, but he's also very finishable. You can see loss. 3 losses in a row to start his UFC career. Then finally gets a win, has another loss, and now he's just alternating between the two. He did just beat Marc-Andre Barro, and that's a quality win now. because Marc-Andre just got a nice little knockout himself. Dustin Stoltzfus is a guy that has some power. He can be a busy striker. He's also got a black belt. It's not in jiu-jitsu. It's some other Brazilian martial art. And he's got 11 takedowns in the last 5 fights. He has added takedowns to his arsenal. He's a pretty well-rounded guy overall. He's just not very durable. I don't see him out wrestling Ruziboev. I don't see him knocking out Ruziboev. So I see Ruziboev being the better striker, being the better wrestler, and potentially winning by finish. Nursulton Ruziboev is the pick. I will have him in my lineup. If we work our way up, we have Myron Santos taking on Sodiq Yusuff in the featured fight of the evening. I don't know what to do here because Myron Santos is clearly a very good fighter. He's a technical striker. And that's it. He's a technical striker. Takedown defense is okay. It's not amazing, but it's okay. He was taken down 3 times by Francis Marshall. He, in all likelihood, should not have won this fight. It felt very much like Francis Marshall won the fight. They gave the decision to Myron because judges nowadays just hate wrestling. They fucking hate it. They actively root against it, and they do everything possible to make sure wrestlers don't get shit. But I do think Myron Santos lost that last fight. He's a young dude. He's only 23, I believe. He's very composed. He does a great job defending takedowns. He's got a really wide base, and his striking is impressive. He's got big power, solid volume. He'll get in your face. He has no problem fighting in the pocket or outside of it. But he is taking on a UFC veteran at this point. Sodiq Yusuff has had a little bit of a skid, right? He loses to Edson Barboza. Quality loss. Edson's very good. He loses to Diego Lopez. Well, Diego Lopez just fought for a title. So another quality loss. He beats Don Shanis. He beats Alex Caceres. He loses to Arnold Allen. Quality loss. He beats Feely, beats Benitez, beats Marias, beats whoever the hell this guy is. So Sodiq Yusuff is, again, beating people that he's supposed to beat and losing to people that are very good that, in theory, he's supposed to lose to. Let's see. Have any of these losses? Oh, so he was a favorite against Allen. He lost that fight. Favorite against Barboza. God damn, he's got a couple losses as favorites. And the Diego Lopez fight, that is what it is. I think Sodiq wins this fight. Problem is, Sodiq doesn't really score that well. I think this is going to be a decision. I think a striker versus striker. I don't think either one of them scores well. I don't see a finish here. I don't see a knockout. They're both pretty good. They should be pretty durable. I don't see like anybody flatlining. If anybody does try to wrestle, it will be Sodiq. He's got some takedowns, but not enough for it to really matter. Sodiq Yusuff is going to be the pick, but I'm not going to put him in a DraftKings fantasy lineup. I just don't quite think he's going to score that well. Then we have the co-main event of the evening. We have Rodolfo Bellato taking on Paul Craig. Listen, Linda. Rodolfo Bellato's $9,400. And that's because they're expecting Paul Craig to get finished. And you know what? Paul Craig does get finished. But the reality is, Rodolfo Bellato just made Jimmy Crute look like Muhammad Ali. Rodolfo Bellato kind of sucks. First of all, this looks like an AI-generated caveman. If somebody said, hey, AI, take Angelo, make him ugly as fuck, and a caveman, this is the image it'll bring back. Like, that's what it'll do. So, you would think, being a caveman, he wouldn't be able to get knocked out. But he was almost knocked out against Jimmy Crute. Ihor Peteria almost knocked his ass out too. So Rodolfo Bellato's a bit chinny. He's got heavy hands in his own right. He also has takedowns. He'll get fights to the ground and he'll hang out. And he has no problem working on the ground. He's got 2 losses in his career. You don't see him here, but they're both through Vitor Petrino. He's coming off this draw with Jimmy Crute where he gave up a 10-8 first round, was able to claw his way back. His opponent is an interesting one to break down because Paul Craig is a guy that is clearly very dangerous on the ground. He also has sneaky power on the feet. Problem is, Paul Craig is like kill or be killed. Like he's either going to finish you or lose. That's it. That's it. He did just lose to Bo Nickel in a striking showcase. Kyle Barallo finished him. Allen subbed him. Muniz KO, TKO is a win. And this was his first fight down at 185. The rest of these fights are 205, right? Walker beats him. Ozdemir beats him. He beats Krylov, but he was losing this fight for however long and then pulls off a submission off his back. He beats Jamal Hill, but same thing. Jamal Hill like dropped him, had him on his back, and then he just throws up an armbar. He beats Hua and Tagulov. Now we're going back far enough that it shouldn't matter. But he goes down to 185, beats Andre Muniz because he's not afraid of Andre's jiu-jitsu, so he gets in his face. Then Arnold Allen does the exact opposite. Arnold Allen's like, I'm not afraid of your jiu-jitsu. Gets in his face, subs him. Kyle Barala, Bo Nickel. Now he's like, fuck it. I'm not a vegan anymore. I'm eating meat. I'm going back to 205. That actually might matter here. I don't know what to do with this fight because Paul Craig does have some power in his hands, and he does obviously have very good jiu-jitsu. Rodolfo Bellato should beat and should finish Paul Craig. So you want to have him in a few lineups, but I also think you should have some Paul Craig in your lineups. He was 6,900 against Andre Muniz. A big underdog, almost as big as he is now, and he pulled that win off. Rodolfo Bellato sucks, dude. Sucks. His 2 UFC wins are against also other sucky opponents. So just be careful in that fight. Michael Morales absolutely dominates Gilbert Burns. Put him in your lineup. Now, I know $9,700 is a lot of money to spend, and historically speaking, he doesn't score that incredibly well. But this is 5 full rounds, so if he finishes Gilbert, it will be good. If he doesn't finish Gilbert, we have extra rounds to work with. We have extra rounds for maybe some takedowns, for some point fighting, point striking. It is a little tricky with Michael because you'll see here, Jake Matthews, decision. Max Griffin, decision. I mean, Fugit, who cares? Trevin Giles, it is what it is. But he does get to decisions with some tough people. Neil Magny's at a point in his career where he's not what he used to be. Michael Morales is an Ecuadorian wrestling champion, Ecuadorian Muay Thai champion. He's young, he's fast, he can do all the things everywhere. And he is taking on Gilbert Burns. Resume-wise, Gilbert Burns' resume is pretty incredible, really. Wins or losses, he's fought the best people on the planet in multiple weight classes. Problem is, he's getting old, and age matters in this sport. We just saw it. Jack Della Maddalena, he had 7 takedowns. He was on his way to winning that fight. Current world champion, Jack Della Maddalena. But Gilbert Burns, he's a little older, eats a huge knee in the 3rd round, gets knocked out. Sean Brady said, I don't give a shit about your grappling. Took him down, beat the shit out of him, didn't matter. Before that, Bilal Muhammad, same thing. Beat him. Didn't need to wrestle him, just outstruck him. They're like, oh, but Gilbert had a shoulder injury. Listen, there's a lot of excuses. Gilbert Burns can either take you down and grind out a win or will lose. I mean, that's the story here. He was able to take down Masvidal. He's able to take down Magny. Obviously, could not take down Chimaev. A lot of people think he might have won that fight, but that's because he was bombing away and Chimaev has no cardio. Could take down Thompson. Could not take down Usman. The Woodley fight could take him down. Like, he knocks out Damian Maia, who's not a striker. Like, Gilbert Burns can either take you down or he can't. That's it. Gilbert Burns, unfortunately, is going to lose here. He's a fan favorite. I love the guy. He's funny on podcast. I'm rooting for him in life, but everybody gets to a point where they just can't really compete at this level anymore. He is at that point. There's plenty of people he can beat, but it's not going to be these young up-and-comers. Michael Morales is the pick. Guys, go to WeWantPicks.com, unlock the optimizer, unlock the event simulator, unlock every pick, every bet, every tool, and before you complain that it's $10, go check out these fucking bums. $97 a month for Saber Sim. $49.99 for just MMA, and this is a stripped-down bullshit package from Roto Grinders. Every pick, every bet, every tool, an entire month is only $10. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. Unlock all of it, not just for this card, but next week's UFC Vegas 107. After that, UFC 316. After that, UFC Atlanta. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top.